Welcome to the EBC Live Show. I'm Laura Rubinstein here with Beth Greer. Hi, Beth. How are you?
Hi, great. Hi, great to be here, Laura.
Great to be here with you. And I normally am focused in on digital media marketing and helping influencers have their greatest impact. And I'm really passionate about that. That's why I love doing this show. And I love interviewing people like you because today's show is about overcoming stress and reducing energy, increasing energy. And you do it and to help people really increase their impact, but you do it from a really unique standpoint, which is all about detoxifying your home and your environment, increasing your health, leading that healthy lifestyle. So I want to hear about how you even got into this. I know you you were in the field of running the Learning Annex as president for 12 years. How did you become so involved and passionate about healthy lifestyle? And why is that so important for someone who wants to have a great impact?
Great question. Yeah, I was leading as a multinational company and I was meeting the most powerful people. Tony Robbins, I did fire walks with him, and Deepak Chopra, who endorsed my book, and Marianne Williamson. And so, yeah, I thought I was leading a healthy lifestyle. I was eating right. I was exercising. I even had a meditation practice.
Awesome.
And I discovered I had this giant tumor in my chest. It was the size of a tennis ball.
Mm.
And so that just changed everything. So I just thought, like, what can I do here? It was such a shock to be diagnosed with this. It wasn't cancerous. I had a biopsied, and three top surgeons wanted to remove it, and they couldn't agree on how to access the thing. So that was like freaky. One wanted to cut me under my collarbone, the second under my armpit to get it out, and the third wanted to remove one of my ribs. And I think luckily all of the courses that I took over the years at the Learning Annex, I really developed my consciousness, and I learned to trust my body and trust the inner wisdom that I had. And I said, I'm not going to have surgery. I want to go another way. And so I started coincidentally, I had booked a week down at the Optimal Health Institute down in San Diego for some R&R.
Mm-hmm.
And I started juicing, and after 3 days of just going on this juice fast and meditating, I noticed the pain started diminishing, and I thought, hey, it's interesting. I'm onto something here. And during this process, they actually had us talking to our illness, and so I asked my tumor, like, what is the message you have for me? And it said, simplify. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, that's fascinating. So I'm already simplifying. I realized that the food I was eating, even though I thought it was healthy, I was eating out a lot, and I didn't know where my food was coming from. When we go to a restaurant, the water is generally not purified, and they're microwaving, and they're using oils that are suspect. And so, I was there a week, and I came back home, and I just decided to continue this process of simple food, simple eating and drinking, all organic juicing and purified water. And then I thought, well, what else can I simplify? And I realized that our skin is our largest organ. And I was putting on some moisturizer and I read the label, and it was like, wow, I can't even read some of the ingredients in here. So I started switching out to all natural products. Like my deodorant, for example, I use baking soda now. That's it. Mm-hmm. And it works like a charm.
And you're getting lots of likes here on Facebook too.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, if you're pro detoxing the home and getting healthier, and go for it. Just let us know you're liking us and what you do. And thanks for being here, Shelley and Charmaine. So keep going. This is fascinating.
Okay. So then I said, well, what else can I simplify? And I was cleaning my home. I had a bottle of Windex in my hand, and I saw it said hazardous to humans and domestic animals right on the label. Precautionary statement, Windex. Wow. So I thought, well, this is crazy. I'm not going to use this anymore. So I switched to hydrogen peroxide and vinegar and baking soda. Anyway, lo and behold, it took a few months, but the pain was really like almost completely down to nothing within a few months. And within 6 months, it was gone.
Wow.
And I had the tumor scanned, and it had disappeared. And I just thought, wow, this is incredible. Our bodies are self-healing. And then my energy came back, right? I mean, this is it, because I was in such a slump. I mean, first to be diagnosed with something like this, and it's so frightening, so scary, and then, depressed and not sleeping well and all that. And so when I did all these things, when I cleaned up my diet and cleaned up my home environment, and my energy boosted up, and I wrote my book. I mean, it went from, I reinvented myself basically. So I started researching like crazy because my background is in journalism. And I just saw all of these chemicals that we are unwittingly exposing ourselves to are toxic to our systems. They build up in our bloodstream and in our livers, and then we can't naturally detox.
So where should one start? I mean, is there a room in the house we should look at and that's most toxic?
Yeah, well, the bedroom is really a good place to take a look because so
Really?
many of my clients, I go into people's homes. One of the things I do is I'm sort of a detective, and I go into people's homes that have chronic problems because I can't figure out, they have like a chronic cough, for example. And one of my clients, she said to me, she was on inhalers and codeine cough syrup for years. And she
Wow.
said, when I sleep in a hotel, I don't cough. I thought, well, hello, there's something in your home. So I'm walking around her home, then I went into her bedroom, and lo and behold, she had scented candles, like 15 of them maybe. And I could feel my throat was sort of getting scratchy. And I said, well, here's your problem. And she's like, oh, I can't get rid of these. These are like, these are so relaxing, and they were gifts and they were expensive. And I explained to her that artificial scent is really a problem for the respiratory issues. And when you see the word fragrance on a label, whether it's in your shampoo or your deodorant, it contains up to 100 different synthetic chemicals just in the word fragrance. It's like a catchphrase that the manufacturers use. So we got rid of her scented candles. I said, well, let's just take them out and just see how you do for a week. And then 3 days later, she called me up and she said, I can't believe it, but I'm not coughing.
Wow.
So the bedroom, so there's candles, then there's electronics in the bedroom. I mean, so many people are sleeping with their iPhone right next to their head as as their alarm clock. That's a big no-no. Don't want to do that. Put it in airplane mode. It's a really simple thing to do. And then they have a lot of things that they're charging. And I had some clients they sleep with their computer under their laptop under the bed. And I thought, well, what is it doing here? Well, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I want to take a note. And I'm thinking, well, they don't even realize that the amount of radiation coming off of this equipment. I mean, we're electrical beings, and we're just being bombarded with so many things. So it's so important to get sort of back to nature and back to ourselves and back to simplicity.
So what are some inexpensive other additional things people can do to detox their homes? I mean, I think it's pretty radical. I mean, a lot of us people who want to make an impact, we're on our phones constantly, we're on our laptops constantly. What advice do you have for us, and how can we also do things inexpensively to detox in our homes?
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit. Well, yeah, limit your use of like putting your phone up to your head, for example. Never put your phone in your bra. I know women do that when they go out exercising, and that's not a good thing. And make your bedroom sort of a sleep sanctuary where you take out all the electrical equipment. And, if you can't not have a TV in there, that would be ideal. A lot of people have TV and fall asleep to it. And it would really be great not to do that. And some people I tell actually to shut the circuit breaker off at night in the bedroom. So just quiet everything down. And their ringing in their ears goes away, and they're sleeping better, So, but I want to just talk a little bit more about food, because I really think that that's key. That we don't realize how much food can impact our energy.
Okay. So what advice do you have for people food wise, especially if we're on the road, or what we could do at home easily?
Right. So the road is always a challenge. So I try to bring snacks with me, organic snacks when I travel. Drinking pure water is really key. I really like, getting a water purifier and filling up a water bottle, ideally not plastic water bottle, glass or metal, to take with you. And then organic. The the amount of pesticides in food is astonishing. The stuff that's being sprayed on our food, and we can't see it or smell it or taste it, but it's there and it's impacting us. It's impacting our children. It's causing all kinds of havoc with our digestive system. And, I've talked to pediatricians who told me that in the last 10 or 15 years, the children, they're suffering. And when they get them on organic food, their guts heal and then their behavior heals. Like they've turned around, ADHD behavior, hyperactivity, even bipolar, by just getting kids off of gluten, for example. Our wheat is being sprayed with a desiccant that's a pesticide, actually, a glyphosate it's called. And so, I could go on and on, but much of this is in my book. I just want to show you. It's called Supernatural Home, and you can find it on my website, bethgreer.com. And so I break the book up into 3 parts: what goes in us, what goes on us, and what surrounds us. So I talk about food and water and our personal care products and makeup and cleaning products. And
it's interesting. I want to cover some of the thing, or ask you about some of the things you just mentioned, like the wheat and the gluten. It's not necessarily the gluten's the problem. It's this desiccant. It's this thing they spray on it. We have no control over it. So, like my husband's always saying, well, there's really nothing wrong with, everybody's anti-gluten. And I'm like, I'm not anti-gluten, but I know it's not good for me for some reason. And you just demystified it. My intuition was just like, okay, it's not the gluten per se, but it's the wheat they use, which is
right.
poison.
It's been genetically modified from years ago, and they're spraying it. And so, if you're going to eat wheat, organic, whole wheat, freshly milled, know where it's coming from. So much of these grains contain mold and fungicides, and so
and what I'm hearing also is you get what you pay for a lot of times. If you're looking at labels and you're looking at, okay, what's organic and non-GMO, and you look at that price, you're going to see an increased price. But, you either pay for it now or you pay for it in medical costs, right?
That's right. And then, speaking of paying for it, gosh, somebody had brought over some wild salmon recently, and it was in a package that had been frozen, and they said, well, they got it at this store called Sprouts. Anyway, it's like $5. And I thought, well, how can that be healthy? And it tasted horrible. I wouldn't even give it to my dog. So I don't know where this wild salmon came from for $5, but you get what you pay for. So, I would rather spend that money on good food, and it tastes so much. It's enlivening. I mean, that's the thing that I find.
And you're voting with your dollars too. You're encouraging the marketplace to get rid of these pesticides. You're encouraging the marketplace to also employ people working in on farms that don't have pesticides. You're saving those people. And thank you for your hearts and your love, because we stand together when we stand for health, and we can really shift it so that it's not so hard to find, so that the prices become reasonable, so that we all have better health. Hello, we're a healthier nation. We're healthier kids.
And, a great place to shop are farmers markets. I mean, I live in Marin County. There's like almost one every day, in different neighborhoods. There's no excuse not to be able to go shop at a market. And the food it's so different. I mean, it's like even just buying, I bought like a bunch of cilantro, for example, at Whole Foods. It was 99 cents and I got like this much. And then when I went to the farmer's market for the same amount, I got like a giant thing that lasted a week, so it's fresh. It was just picked, the apples are fragrant. They're delicious. Eating just becomes an enlivening, transformative experience rather than, okay, what are we going to have for dinner and just feed ourselves,
Yeah. Now, I've talked to a lot of busy people lately, and they say I'm too busy to eat healthy. And a lot of people will just, chug a caffeinated soda. What is the danger in drinking soda, diet soda, and what alternatives can people go to?
Oh boy. So there's study after study about how diet soda actually causes weight gain, causes sugar cravings, and it causes endocrine disruption, which means that it affects our hormones. So, an easy, simple solution would be if you want fizzy, people like to drink fizzy stuff, get some fizzy water, Perrier, whatever, Pellegrino, and add some freshly squeezed juice or something like that. I mean,
Yep.
it's delicious. And I have a bunch of recipes in my book. I have easy, quick, quick fixes, swaps, from what you used to be drinking. I mean, I just cringe when I see people drinking diet soda. I just feel so bad for them. And I know that there's a there's a connection between diet soda and Parkinson's disease,
Wow.
that it sort of mimics the same kind of deterioration in the brain scan, coming from the also MSG kind of does the same thing. They're neurotoxins. It's eating away at our bodies, our brains. I mean, I
Yeah.
just I just can't say enough about eating a healthy diet and just choosing natural products over commercially produced, things with artificial scents and harsh chemicals in them.
Now, I think a lot of us are conscious and we think we have a healthy diet. You've enlightened us into some areas we'll talk about some more, but it seems like we might not be as conscious as we could be. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that because so this other client I had was having headaches, and I was, baffled because I was wondering, well, what could be in her house that's causing her headaches? This is a woman who makes her own almond milk. She eats 100% organic. She shops at the farmer's market. She doesn't wear makeup, And I thought, well, maybe it was her electromagnetic fields. And those were very, very low. And I said, well, when did your headache start? She said 17 months ago. And I said, well, what happened then? Well, I remodeled. So what did you do? She goes, well, I installed vinyl flooring and synthetic carpeting. And it was like, that was it. These fumes have been off-gassing, and she's a smart, intelligent, successful woman, but she just didn't even think that this could impact her system. And so I told her, which air purifier to get, and she got them, and her headaches are gone. So, is another example where a child had been having headaches. And again, it was the same kind of thing where the home was a pristine home with natural products, organic and all that. And I walked into the child's bedroom and he had a giant air purifier right next to his headboard. And I said to the mom, why do you have this here? And she said, well, he has grass allergies. And, I thought the closer the better. But meanwhile, this thing is emitting an enormous field, an electromagnetic field. And so we moved it just like 10 feet away, and it drops off dramatically. And she called me up the next morning in tears. And she said, this is the first morning in 2 years that my son has woken up without a headache. It's just
We
so.
are sensitive beings, and I think
Yes.
we got to honor it, and we have to, and there's so many things to be sensitive to that we can't actually see. It's really trial and error a lot of times, but you're giving us a lot of good ways to think about what can we try and change. Let's talk a little bit about something that has, I don't know if it's controversial or there's a lot of discussion around it, farm raised fish versus wild caught versus,
Yeah.
and is it every fish that we should deal with, and shrimp and whatever? Because even wild caught, in what in Japan they had the whole nuclear reactor thing. Where do we buy wild
Right.
caught fish that's safe?
Well, that's true. Fukushima is still, they're not, no one's really talking about it, but the radiation is still pouring out of there, and
Wow.
they're finding radiation in all of the fish. So I've just sort of been eating less and less fish these days. Shrimp, which is ubiquitous, you go everywhere, in every little grocery store is having, shrimp sushi and stuff. These shrimp they're all farmed over in Vietnam and Cambodia, and they're using really toxic chemicals on these little shrimp. They're feeding them with, the food supply is filled with pesticides and hormones to make them grow faster, and coloring, and talking about. So I would just sort of kind of be aware of where your fish is coming from. And the farmed fish, there are some fish farms that I think might be okay, but majority of them are using food dyes to make the fish orange, so that they're feeding them these pellets, and the flesh is gray. So let's say for salmon. So no one wants to eat a piece of gray salmon. So what they do is these fish farmers have a color wheel. I saw it, and they look, okay, what color orange do I want to make the flesh? And they pick the food dye, and they put it into their food, and then it makes their flesh orange. So, and we're eating it. That's the thing we need to know. We are what our animals eat. So
Yeah.
it's not just what we're eating, but you have to think about down the line.
And it would be nice. And does your book cover, or on your website, do you cover how to figure out which farm fish is okay, or in general, you just have to do your own research?
No, it's all in my book, and there's great I have a bunch of resources with websites on where to go, because it's changing every year. Set of changes, which fish are more endangered and like that. We're definitely overfishing. So
Yeah, that's another problem. We don't have good fish because we don't have fish, period, in the waters anymore.
right.
I've definitely decreased my consumption of fish, and I love fish. I don't eat much other meat myself. So, and I'm also concerned about the mercury in the water as well, and those larger fish,
Yes, the tuna and the swordfish, right?
right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's in the smaller fish now as well.
Right. I guess it's less prevalent in little sardines. So
Right.
I'm eating that. And
Sardines is a good option. Okay, great. We want to talk about options. So, as thought leaders and people want to have a big impact, I know you mentioned things you put on your skin. What should we watch out for in cosmetics or personal care products? Should we assume they're tested for safety? And if not, what do we look for?
right. Again, so yeah, the cosmetics trade industry is self-monitored. And so it's not, managed by the FDA. And so we have to be our own best advocate on that. And so you want to look for organic and pure products. There's some great companies out there that I list in my book, and if people are interested, they could email me. There's places in Hawaii that make wonderful perfumes, and made from just natural flowers. So just the fewer the ingredients, the better. So coconut oil is a fantastic moisturizer. And as I said before, the baking soda, so I put it in a little salt shaker, and I just sprinkle it on my hand, then put it under my armpit, and you're good to go. Some
That's
people
great.
like to put coconut oil, rub it under their armpits first, and then put a light dusting of the baking soda on, which is another great alternative. Yeah, so just, you just want to start looking at the way you learned how to read food labels. Start looking at the things you're putting on your skin. Same way. If you can't pronounce it, sometimes there'll be Latin names, so those aren't bad because they're usually Latin names for botanicals. But I'm talking
Right.
about the stuff, the methyl this and the ethyl that, the parabens and all that stuff. You just want to avoid if
Right.
at all possible.
Well, here's a conundrum. So a lot of people say you have to wear sunscreen out, and I like a moisturizer with the sunscreen out for my face. So I live here in Southern California. There's a ton of sun. Also want to prevent face, spots. Is there a non-toxic sunscreen for a face?
There are, and I also have a recipe for sunscreen in my book, which is basically ascorbic acid powder mixed with
Oh,
water or glycerin, and then you spray that on your skin. And I used to take my daughter to Hawaii. She's very fair skinned, and I'd spray her. It's not a block, so it kind of penetrates the skin. So you'd have to go, do it like 20 minutes before you go out into the sun. But she never had a sunburn, and this girl had blonde hair as a little girl. So yeah, I mean, there's great products out there, and the great thing is that now more and more, because companies are realizing that people are sort of becoming aware and concerned, the more and more great products out there. And again, at the farmers markets, they're selling skincare products and toothpastes, and it's very encouraging to see.
It's great. Yes, it is. And people are becoming more aware and they're buying more of the organic. I've noticed over the years, and you've probably noticed too at the supermarkets, the organic section went from this little and then it went this, and then all of a sudden it's like half of
That's right.
the, and now hopefully it'll be
And
the
you
other
know
way.
what's great too? Costco, like at least the Costco near me. I mean, they have an entirely huge, like refrigerated section of just organic produce, and then they come in with seasonal fruits and vegetables that are organic. So blueberries and strawberries and apples, pears. It's. I was very impressed, and they more and more organic at Costco and at Walmart. Believe it or not. Walmart is I think is one of the largest. I think Costco and Walmart compete for being the largest buyers of organic produce in the
Interesting.
country. So it's pretty amazing. But I want to just talk about strawberries for a minute because it's really important to eat in season, I believe. And with strawberries, now that it's wintertime, you want to make sure that you're getting an organic strawberry because you cannot wash the pesticides off of things like strawberries because they inject the pesticides into the root system. So it comes up into the flesh so you can't wash or peel.
They're like sponges.
Exactly.
Yeah. Strawberries
They're
are the
sponges and we're sponges, right?
yes, yes.
We're
So we're
sponges.
gonna get
And so here's the other good news is that when people get off of like they've done blood tests on people who are eating non-organic food and then like only I think it only takes like maybe somewhere between 3 4 days to a week where after just eating organic food the pesticide residues in their bodies dramatically reduce. So it's that's a real good it's a good thing so that
good news. Very good news. We're getting towards the end of our time here. It's been so chock full of amazing information. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, though, I want you to ask you to share your book again. If you have a copy of it, please share it, and then where they can find it. And what final piece of advice can you leave us with for people who really want to make the greatest impact?
Yeah, okay. So here's the book again, Supernatural Home. They can find it on Amazon or on my website, supernaturalmom.com or bethgreer.com. And I guess, the takeaway is to just really start to become more conscious. I know that you're already smart and conscious about so many things, but really become conscious about what you're really putting in your body, what you're putting on your skin, and what you're surrounding yourself with your cleaning products. And if you're remodeling, choose really smart natural products to be as close to nature as possible. And that will enhance your vitality and your health, and in turn will increase your impact in the world.
And become supernatural.
Yay.
I love that.
Okay.
I just wanted to share there is a comment here on the Facebook page that Sarah Ross popped in a little while back. Thank you, Sarah, for that. It says, just back from rural Vietnam, lunch was always fresh, straight from the garden for $2.50, super healthy and delicious. Diet soda not available anywhere in this village.
Wow.
So I think it's not Vietnam that's the problem. It's,
No,
the
no, it's
locals.
not. It's the fish farms. It's
Yeah,
not Vietnam. That's
yeah,
right. No, no, no. I have nothing against Vietnamese people or Vietnamese food. It's just that that's where they're shipping all of our shrimp from, and
right,
the farmers are suffering there too because they're being exposed to the chemicals as well.
right.
Yes.
Right. So vote with your dollars, save people's lives. Buy organic, save your own life.
Yes, that's right.
Be healthy, and have the greatest impact possible. Because the healthier we are, the better impact we can have. Kind of that mask on first, take care of
Yes,
ourselves,
right.
and
It's
then we,
healthcare.
yeah, then we can do it for other people. So thank you for being a supernatural rock star, and I look forward to speaking again. And thank you all for watching EBC Live. EBC-live.com is where you can find all of our past episodes. We're here almost every Wednesday, bringing you thought leaders to help you increase your reach, your impact, and just help you be the best you can be and beyond. So feel free to comment in uh, our shows and tune in live with us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. And I'll let you all figure out what time zone you're in. Thanks again, Beth.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Bye, everyone.